Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome into the stream. My name is Elliot Bond. I'm your host. And today, instead of chance matches, of course, we have got our season review. Obviously, many schools and colleges across the country have been playing in our tournament in Overwatch, Rocket League, League of Legends, all throughout the term, and we've now come to the end of this season. So whereas normally on Wednesday afternoons we'd be showing you gameplay, today we're going to be speaking with the admins and the tournament organisers and just having a look to see kind of how the teams have performed, what we can expect from next season, have a look at the groups and any kind of outstanding moments that we thought are good to share with you guys. So without further ado, let me bring in Alice, who's also in the same role as me, Schools and Colleges Liaison Officer, and we are the tournament organisers. Welcome in, Alice.
It's good to be here and talk about chance matches.
Hi.
It's been like kind of a bumpy season for everyone, but yeah, it's great. We can
has
finally talk about how it's all finalised.
And of course, given the fact that everybody's been playing from home and playing from school at the same time, and some playing from college, and the whole rescheduling aspect of it has been a bit up in the air, and we appreciate everybody's patience and effort that they've gone to as well to make sure that the games do get played. Particularly myself and Alice are really thankful that you guys have been doing that and still actually being able to play the games. So we've actually seen the majority of the teams have continued to play, didn't we? We only had a few dropouts, right?
Yeah, there was only a couple, and primarily towards the end of the season or the start, when everyone's still finding their feet, or COVID restrictions have been a bit harder. But I mean, we were looking through all the matches today, and there's nearly 600 individual fixtures that everyone's played so far, and that's just in this season. So I think that's a crazy number, and it's great that everyone's been able to get involved still.
Yeah, it really is quite a lot of games played. Over 600, that's insane. Obviously, it's only going to get bigger as we add more teams to the roster. Of course, if you didn't know, all of your teams who are already signed up for the winter will automatically be signed up for the spring season, as well as any additional teams. Of course, I can see there's already lots of questions. So yeah, there's going to be a few questions coming in through here, I can imagine, about what's going to happen next season, but we will try and come to that towards the end of the stream. But for now, we kind of just want to have a look at what's happened, and then we'll go into what's going to happen. So first of all, I just wanted to share with you the platform. If you hadn't already seen it, I'm sure many of you have and probably spend quite a lot of time on there. I'm speaking about some more than others, naming no names. But if we'll just run through the platform a little bit, have a look, kind of what you can see on there, what information is available to you guys. So of course, obviously you've got the homepage here with the games and the sign up information, and of course our latest news as well. Please do check out these articles because quite regularly there are things like PS5 giveaway, there you go. That's our week 9 recap for last week. So that's something we're going to be covering this week. Anyway, also from this page, you've got all the tournaments here with all the leaderboards, which we will be looking at in a bit more detail shortly. And of course, the spring divisions, which aren't available as of yet. So yeah, morning to everybody in the channel. Welcome into the chat. Thank you very much for being here. So I've got a special surprise for you today. Whilst my special surprise is already on the screen, I actually have a few extra special surprises, and it's not just Alice. I've managed to get hold of some of our tournament admins as well, who have been running things behind the scenes on a volunteer basis, working really hard every Wednesday with you and your teachers to make sure that the games run smoothly. So I've managed to get a couple of those in just to help talk through the brackets and the kinds of things that they've experienced throughout the season and as they've watched your teams fight or race or win or score against each other. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where I was going with that one. Cool. So I think first of all we're going to do Overwatch, and then we'll go to Rocket League, and then we'll go to League of Legends. So if you're interested in one of those only particularly, keep the stream open, but we'll just go through them as we get to them. There's also this content page as well. Of course, you can find our YouTube channel there, as well as all the champ highlights. And then, of course, any resources that you need, you can generally find in the support section, like the rules, the code of conduct, the terms of T's and C's, etc., etc. And of course, any changes that you need to be made can be made through your account. And that's it. That's the platform. So in a very brief nutshell, Alice, did I miss anything?
No, I think you covered everything, to be honest with you. Like, mainly it's the tournaments that you're all interested in, but if you do want to submit any content, please do, because we'd love to see your amazing plays. It's really simple. You just fill out the form, click on the file you want to choose, and then submit. Simple as that, and then we can see all your amazing plays that you do.
Absolutely. Yeah, the more plays that get submitted, fantastic. We'll make as much content as you give us. We'll turn it into more content for you to watch back later on, in terms of highlight reels and great things like that. So please do that. You can do that via here as well. That's it, if I just go to that page.
Even gives you guides on how to do it as well.
Yeah,
so if you're not sure,
we've made it really easy. So yeah, if you just let that load, sorry, my computer's being a bit slow. So there you go, look, the first bar at the very top there, click here to upload your highlights, chuck it all in there, fill out the form, add the clip, job done, we'll take care of the rest. Brilliant. All right, so speaking of highlights, I think it's probably a good idea that we show you some of the highlights from the Overwatch series, this split. Are we calling it split or season? I think we're going to go with season.
I think we're going with season, but either way.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with season. We'll play you a short video from the Overwatch highlights from this season, and then I'll bring in our tournament admins for Overwatch.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the British Esports Championships.
Again, is going to leave it a little bit more difficult with just a Lucio heals. A good hack onto Bullet. A blade comes in from Maluki. Finishes off Crimson. Gets 2. And we can see if Goofy can maybe sort out a little bit, but no, he's just holding onto his ultimate. Death Blossom. And they got mines as well, just to try and keep a bit of space. I'm going to see if he's going to get a little boop off and gets both healers, which... they need to be a little bit more careful. They still invest in EMP, so they want to win this fight. They should have Nanoblade now, and they haven't really got much to go against it.
Oh my god! What was that? A quadruple kill from Bulletborn?
Falcon in early, a good beat from Goofy, just to make sure, an aggressive one as well. They might know that he doesn't have any ults, but with a blade coming in now, they haven't got anything to go for it, and they just stack the double both damage ults. But Crimson is trying to carry this by himself. Face from Yuki, doesn't need to get the kills. A nice hook from onto Aluki, but he's standing over Nanoblade.
Bulletborn again popping off the second map in a row.
It's difficult to play against this comp. A dive is a little bit more different. You can avoid the Orisa shield a little bit more.
A bit more mobility is what they're going
yes.
for right now.
A huge blossom.
Kills back to back. Bulletborn is on fire today.
That's the problem with trying to play a stationary comp. If you're not keeping track of where the Reaper is, he's just going to TP behind you and Death Blossom. That was, I think, 5 at least contributed to the 5.
Interested to see if we see any kind of Widowmakers or Hanzos to sort of take advantage of the sight lines. A bongo in from the defense there, from Yuki, and a high new from Maluki. Unfortunately, it does manage to actually pick off 2. That's fantastic stuff from him. Takes up 3rd as well onto that Reaper. The Mercy does get picked off towards the end there. That's going to stag them out even further, and with the Orisa going down as well, it's not looking good for them at all. But a big Reaper ult coming in with a Nano Boost as well on top, and he ticks off 3, but he does actually get shattered into the out of it. And unable to, a huge nade actually, to take out the remaining 2 onto the point there, and it's going to be a full reset. High charge on Papa Smurf, and with that ultimate coming in as well, that's going to be an EMP as well to boot. Probably should see them through to the end of this point, or at least very much close. Aluki kind of taking shelter in that backline there. Probably going to be able to do so, but another fantastic Death Blossom. They managed to pick off 1 before it gets hacked. And with Aluki coming back in with a high noon as well, it just looks like they're just going to be able to hold on to it, to the Mercy there. They're going to pick that one off. And it's all a bit messy at this point, but it looks like Cobra's actually going to be able to hold on to this one, so long as they're able to keep that Reaper and whole-hogging Hog alive as he forces them away. Aluki picking up another 2 there towards the end. Absolutely fantastic stuff from him. He's just had an absolute field day on this McCree. And Aluki just still raining down damage, so much damage from up above. Picks off a couple there and a third onto the Roadhog. Absolutely fantastic shots in from him. It looked like the Owls had it for a second, but he's taken out Crimson Creed as well. It's just the Monkey desperately holding on. Snowy trying to build up that ultimate, but unfortunately unable to do so. And it looks like they're going to manage to take map number 2. Clear target for it, although they are going to give it to that Roadhog of Snowy. See what he can get done with it as he uses his whole hog. But a fantastic response from Aluki, who gets 2 the Deadeye. Goofy and Crimson Creek.
To survive there, he needs to try and back up and stay alive because he's got the only ult in the game. I don't know if Cardia can touch this.
Nana boost on to Aluki as well.
No.
Cardia Duke doesn't even manage to get his ultimate off either. Oh dear. They definitely probably have to go with Aluki just simply because I'm a big fan of the flashy plays, and the I didn't manage to catch the first map unfortunately because I had all those technical issues. But yeah, definitely the sort of second and third maps. Fantastic job from him on both the McCree and also the Widowmaker as well. What a fantastic player! Great mechanical skills. So yeah, definitely go with Aluki. Chris News. He does have the ultimate. He's going to come in and actually use it. Does get DM'd out by Harry GYT 11. Just call him Harry. And Makapaka managed to take him out towards the end of that barrage.
Did buy some space and some time. Or very nice flick there from Hines.
It does actually manage in sort of galleyway, which probably funneled them quite nicely for a few balls to get. But Jugar getting a little bit too aggressive there and gets that picked off by Awkward Ben, who manages to get a absolute abundance more, and up to 61% already on that shatter. He's going to Bongo onto point from X-Clip is very, very optimistic. But,
yeah, Awkward it as well.
Yeah, that's first map over and done with like a flash. Unlike that.
Unlike that, where Awkward Ben is. Oh no, poor soldier. He's shaking his head. I know. I feel sorry for you. Kill yourself. Let him kill himself. Oh no, he's
those poor. Oh, he's going in for another hammer.
Ash knows.
And that'll be it. The end of Hotshot's suffering.
I mean, is it too obvious to say Awkward Ben? Not just because his skill on Orion was pretty good, like I mentioned before, but also for his friendliness to the opponent soldier, his mercy in a way. I guess I think as I say before, the team comp was really good and they played really well as a team, but I think Awkward Ben shone a little bit. Especially on that first map where I think he got 5 kills in the first fight, or 5 killing blows in that first fight. So that's my vote.
All right. So there you go. There was some of the highlights from the Overwatch League, which we've been running all throughout the season. So I see actually quite a lot of chat about whether it's called season or split in the chat here, guys. I think we went with season. It's like the winter qualifiers are being played throughout the winter season, if that makes sense.
To make it easier, we could just say qualifiers and then divisions, but I guess personal preference. So you're right. It's kind of you're playing the qualifiers within the winter season. Again, it's a different format for everyone. Like we've literally just changed this, so it's very new for us as well. But hopefully, it's something that will really kind of continue to improve and grow as like the champs grows as well.
Absolutely. So Rinked, I can see, is in the chat, but he's also in our chat. So I also have Rinked and Kermy or Kerm. So please welcome in Rinked and Kermy. The next voices you'll hear will be them. Hello, guys.
Yo.
Hello, welcome into the stream. Rinked, this is actually your second time on stream in 2 weeks.
Yes, we may have got embarrassed by Wyke in a friendly match last week. So.
Well, as I understood it, it was a best of 3, and you fought valiantly, even though you went 2-0. Was it 2-0? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Don't remind us.
Unfortunate.
Don't remind us. Yeah. Unfortunately, the BEA team will win a game one day.
It's been 84 years.
It's been definitely a long time. All right, so to discuss the leaderboard then, obviously you guys have been watching all the games throughout the season. Kerm, this is your first time, isn't it, on stream with us?
It is, yeah.
But of course, you've been behind the scenes, talking to the teachers, dealing with tickets and organising matches. Between the two of you, how have you found that?
Yeah, so I've mainly been spectating the matches that we actually stream, so I've been getting a bit more of an in-depth look at some of the teams that I think could contend later in the championships. And actually, I watched, as it turns out, quite a lot of the teams up the very top. I've seen Arthur Terry play, I've seen BSFC play, I've seen Wyke play, who, as you can see, are all fairly near the top and are going to be the favourites going forward.
And same question to you, Kerm?
Yeah, I haven't really had a chance to spectate many games apart from the ones on stream. But as with tickets are concerned, it's been pretty smooth. There's only been a couple things where it's been a little bit difficult, but as Alice said earlier, it's COVID and guidelines and stuff. It's made everything difficult.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, we've got a fantastic team. I think amongst all of us, we've got a really strong group of people who work well together. So fingers crossed, you guys are enjoying the tournament, not having any problems. Not having many problems, should I say? So anyway, so this is the leaderboard. As you can see, I've just got it up on screen here. We'll go into more detail on the groups in a moment, but I just wanted to talk to you about this leaderboard. So obviously there are a couple of teams who have dropped out, a couple of teams who have not lost a whole season. Alice, why don't you start with somebody some of the strongest players here today?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, as you can see, like Braintree, Farnborough, is it Cessnays? I want to say how you say that. Owls from Gower College. There's the top teams at the moment, and they've done extremely well not to have lost any games, which is amazing. And obviously, like sheer great place, they must have done all their matches.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can't really forget about the others at the top. After Terry, BSFC, they're Birkenhead, 6-1 College. They're new to the tournament as well to do so well.
Oh, awesome.
In their first time is really good going. There's some really strong teams there. Confetti's always been really high throughout the whole time they've been the champs. So they're nearly always going to be at the top, which they've proven as well. Coventry, which is we were looking into, unfortunately, lost their last game, which ruined their streak. But, they played really dominantly the whole way through. So I'm sure they'll come back even stronger in spring. Would not be surprised at all. It's amazing to see how well people have done. And I know it's been really difficult for everyone to play. So, just to see that all these matches have got played, to the best of their ability and they've come through is amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, quite a lot of these teams as well are doing friendlies with each other. I'm aware that there's quite a lot of scrimming going on behind the scenes as well. And then again, quite a lot of these teams have featured on stream as well. You're not just necessarily in the Overwatch bracket, but I'm looking at these names here and I'm thinking I recognise so many of those from the streaming sessions that we've been doing on Wednesdays. Any particular upsets that you want to talk about or win streaks that you want to talk about? Let's go with Kerm first, if you had anything in mind.
I loved watching the Arthur Terry hype on stream when they played.
Or the Arthur Terry hype. Oh yeah, I remember
that was fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were a really strong team. They were a really strong team.
Yeah, no, it deserved for sure. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, only
was
one
that Terry Awkward Ben? Was that
Yes.
Awkward Ben with on the Reinhardt? Yeah, I remember that.
That's the one we just watched. In the highlights reel there.
The whole series was great.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, to lose only one game throughout the entire season, that's quite tough. Quite a lot of teams pulled it off. There are, what's this, a shared of 7 on fourth position of 4 teams?
Yeah.
7 teams. That's insane. Rinked, any standout moments from you?
Not particularly standout moments. I will say I think this season's going to be more competitive when it comes to the finals compared to last year because...
Absolutely, yeah, will be.
For those of you that don't know, like Sunderland Sears last year had an absolutely absurdly good team. I think it was like 4.2k average. And I've not seen anyone this year, or that I've seen on stream, that's anywhere close to that. I've seen a couple of like diamond average teams, but in terms of like hitting top 500 in GM, I think it's going to be a lot a lot closer finals this year, which I think is going to make it more interesting, because I had a feeling last year it would be a blowout win for Sears, and that's what it turned out to be. But this year, I can't call it. The teams I've seen have all been very, very good, but I haven't even seen, I don't know how you say it, Cercenes. I haven't seen Braintree, and yet I haven't seen the first team of GTS, and yet they're the three teams that all have flawless records so far. So
Absolutely.
should be very exciting going forwards.
Yeah, the Sears team was very feared. I can see in chat as well, people are saying I hated their team. They filled me with dread. I mean, honestly, they won the first 2 years of our championships literally without any kind of competition. I mean, they had competition, but I don't think they lost very many maps. You know, if you could count them on one hand or two hands over the whole 2 seasons. The whole 2 years, rather, the amount of times they lost a map. Very, very, very strong team, like you said. But I believe their roster has entirely changed.
Yes, I know that some of their players have moved on to uni. I know, for example, I've seen Balor, their support player from last year, has turned up in chat, but I think they've moved on. Same thing with the Farnborough team that obviously contested them in the finals. They've moved on a lot. So there's an opportunity there for a new team to take their crown.
Yeah, for sure. So that's, speaking very much about the top end of the table. Let's sort of go down towards the middle of the table here. Queensberry College 2, obviously having a couple of teams in, which is great, but they've been performing really well. They've obviously got their first team up there, and I believe they're doing coaching between the 2 teams under the same coach, if I remember correctly, which is cool. And I obviously really encourage anybody who wants to get a coach in to do their team, whether it's somebody external or somebody internal, either's good. And then we're kind of looking towards like the mid to the bottom half of the table, as it were. Anything that's kind of standing out there for you, Alice, other than Broccoli Boys, who I know is your favourite team?
I know, that's just a great name. It's absolutely bizarre, but it really sticks out to me always. No, I just like some of the newer teams that are kind of sitting around the middle mark, like they've done really well. Like I think it's KSE Sports. We've also got, who else? West Suffolk Cobras. JOC Steel, I know they had a bit of a rocky start in terms of getting the tech requirements, and COVID restrictions had a bit of a hard time on them to begin with, but they got all their matches caught up and played, and obviously they've done quite well. They're on 21 points, so that's near the top end of the table as well. So it's kind of great to see the sort of comebacks. Some people, ending on a win streak, for example, like Calla with Basilisk, Red Team ending on a 2-win streak. Same for Papyrus Alpha as well. They're ending on a 3-win streak. That's College Gwent, if I remember correctly. So, there's still chances for redemption. You've got divisions 1 or 2 where when you go into, there's still a chance to, really dominate that division. So I think it's all about getting involved and, just trying it out. You never know. And hopefully next season as well, because you're going to be matched up with more similar skill levels, it should make it a little bit more competitive going up against other teams of, similar points.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe SSC has dropped out. Is that correct?
Yes, they have. They've merged teams, if I remember correctly. So I think it's their. Oh, I'm going to get this wrong now. I think it's their 3rd team that they're keeping.
Yeah. So they had. Did they have 4? Was that?
They had 3, and they merged to 1.
Okay, perfect. So that's what's going on at the bottom of the table, and I believe Heckman Wyke aren't planning on continuing in the spring season. I think they just had too much trouble getting players to play from home, from college, and they were just basically ended up forfeiting matches quite a lot due to those reasons, which is a shame. And then I'm not sure what's going on with Ada. You spoke with them, didn't you, Alice?
I don't know much about the Overwatch team, but even so, even losing their games, they're still continuing from as much as I'm aware of. And you can still move further. They might, get better in spring divisions because it'll be against, similar skill levels. And for all we know, they could, have a win streak next season. We can't unfortunately predict that. But the fact is that I know they're still continuing, and we'll see what happens.
Looking forward to it. All right, great stuff. So obviously in the top 3 positions, or in the top 1 position shared 3 ways, is Braintree Basilisks, Cercenes, and of course the Gower College Swansea Owls. So let's have a look at the group stages then, because I know that that's obviously somewhat most impactful, being able to see this a little bit more. I think due to the way my screen scrolls, we'll just do group 1 and 2 first. So, I mean, anybody can look at these scores and analyse, kind of just based on the data here. We've been able to witness quite a lot of the teams, though, particularly who have been, struggling, still fighting for their wins though. And I'm, talking here like Papyrus, which is obviously College Gwent. They've been fighting throughout the whole season. Bless them. Really unfortunate that that it's turned out that 1-2 lost 7, but all of their games, as far as I've heard, were really close. So there's that. There's just because the data says 7 lost doesn't necessarily mean like you feel like you've lost all of those 7 games. So take me through the groups then. Rinked starts off.
So yeah, the one that stands out to me straight away is Group 2, seeing that we've got 3 teams that all lost a match. Now, I don't know if they lost against each other, but that's a really, really competitive group. And I've seen Arthur Terry and Wyke on stream. I haven't had the chance to see Griffins yet, so I'm quite interested to know what they're about. And similarly, as I said, I haven't seen, so I'm going to butcher this pronunciation again, Cercines. I really don't know.
I think that's right, yeah.
I think that's right.
They're one of the only teams that have a flawless record. So again, they're certainly one to keep an eye out on going forward. And in Group 3, no, Coventry hit 8-1. No one hit a flawless record in that group, but again, very, very consistent from continuing from last year. Yeah. And then another team with 9-0, again, I haven't seen, is Braintree. So again, it's quite interesting to...
Down in Group 5.
Yep.
I mean, what must it take for a team to go unbeaten in the season? Kerm, what do you think? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it the inspiration from the teacher or inspiration from the players? How does it work?
I think a few of the teams, quite a lot of them, have coaches and teachers behind them. But like you say, there's a lot of flip flop with, especially in Overwatch, throughout the game, with like momentum swinging. So like a tough loss or a loss streak isn't necessarily, lots of crushing defeats in a row.
Yeah. We've got GCS Owls in the chat, and somebody else is saying fear the basilisks, presumably from Braintree Basilisks, and the Owls are saying yes, we agree, fear the basilisks. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see them face off against each other next season. Anything that's kind of standing out to you from these tables that you're looking at so far? Is there any table you want me to look at in a bit more detail? Or
all I
I'd
see
like
is
to look at
numbers.
Group 5.
Which one?
Group 5, I think, is quite good. So you've got Braintree, obviously, who's kind of dominating the way, and Confetti have kind of been nearly always at the top of, regardless of whatever season we've been in, for the champs. But then also Tameside, they're new college to this season for this qualifiers. Having done 7 wins, 2 losses. Yeah, it's really well done. I think it's just nice to see some of the newer teams getting on really well and having some really close matchups with some of our returning teams, and then to be able to show that they know what they're doing and they might be able to be fierce contenders going into spring. So I think it's really nice to see kind of that mix of teams. It's not always the new ones at the bottom, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. And like I said, we've got the spring season now open for sign-ups as well. So of course we will be having some more teams take part next year, potentially messing up these tables even further, throwing a few more spanners in the works. But I mean, do we know who Coventry lost to?
I think it was Kennet, if I remember correctly.
Kennet Clan.
I think so. Yeah, I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it was Kennet. So
and then of course in Group 1, obviously Birkenhead obviously lost to Cercines. But then of course this one we don't know whether they would beat each other or lost each other without checking individual records. So it's all to be played for.
Okay, Arthur Terry lost to Barnsley. So
interesting.
That was their loss.
Okay. Which is
top of the giant.
Yeah. So they
and then Wyke lost to Arthur Terry.
Oh, it's a weird triangle. It's a triangle. Yeah. Oh no. Okay, yeah, so that's a really, really close group then. I think I'm sticking with Rink's assessment there that is going to be a very tough competition coming from Group 2 with those 3 big teams. Okay, fantastic. So next year's predictions then, if we're assuming that everybody who's placed first, at least, let me go back to the leaderboard. If we're assuming that everybody who's placed first and all of these, down to here, let's say, because I can't confirm chat, I know you want me to confirm, but I can't confirm yet who's going through into what division. But we can at least say that, you know, this top 20% will be. Looking at these names here, is there any predictions? You know, who's going to take it next season? Rinked first, and then we'll go to Kerm.
As I say, it's quite hard to make a prediction on the top 3 teams because I haven't actually seen them play, but clearly they're very capable if they've got 9-0. But from the teams I've seen, I was most impressed so far with Arthur Terry and Wyke.
Awesome. Kerm?
I also kind of want to stay on the Arthur Terry hype train, but for sake of variety, I think Basilisks are definitely gonna still be in the top 3.
Okay, so a bit of Braintree fanboy there. I like it. We've got probably a few more that will be going into Div 1. I'm not sure how many, but yeah, we'll figure that out later, and then we'll get in touch with everybody to make sure that you're all aware, know what's happening. Right, so that's more or less it from the Overwatch side. Thank you ever so much, Rinked and Kerr, for your assessments and your predictions. Yeah. You're most welcome, and thank you again for adminning most of the season. You know, you've been fantastic as always.
Okay, see you next split, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
see you next Christmas.
See you later, guys.
See you next Christmas. See you next split.
I said have a good Christmas.
No, I said see you next Christmas. No worries. All right.
That's a bit creepy. Just gonna go around to all their houses. Are you Santa?
No, I'm not.
So disappointing.
No, I'm so sorry. All right, guys. Without further ado, I shall hand us over to the Rocket League video, and then we shall be looking to see. Oh my word, what is going on there? Be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the British Esports Championships.
Touch Spooner fakes it into the mid. Blazeburner double committing with Josh Wash there, and the ball falls loose in mid. Blazeburner trying to clear it up, but only gets a pass off in the end to an orange player. But that is a wonderful interception downfield into the back of an open orange net. Sends. Looking for the pass into mid, not able to find it though. As Blazeburner goes for the downfield carry, it needs to be stopped, but it is not. The team in orange, Blazeburner, going to be off to another burning start there as he tries to guide it around the corner. It's going to be down off of the ceiling for Blaze to take a shot. It's off of the crossbar, it's down, it's off. Going to touch beyond one of the keepers, but Blazeburner is there to clean up. Playing it around the corner, takes a bounce off of the backboard. It's down to Josh Wash, and that's a 3-0 lead for Sunderland. To the edge of the penalty box is perfect for Spooner. He takes it up. He will not be able to score it, but Lafar able to bury that one at the back of the net. Again, Wash out of the corner there, and a pinch is going to send that ball flying downfield. No one in orange turning to deal with it. Blazeburner's shot unchallenged and will find the 0-0 here after 2 minutes. That one actually dropping into the back of the net. Net. Vuxi narrowly dodging that, almost putting it back into their own area. As Josh Wash gets that all the way around the corner, it's in front of the orange net, and Blazeburner's there for the hat trick. You can just tell that communicate, get themselves a little bit of a buffer, a little bit of breathing room, as Saints can't quite get that one clear effectively. Spooner following it up the sidewall, not able to get a touch in the end, as Saints has to come and take over. Plays that one down off of the corner to himself. Blazeburner with a lovely touch there, buys himself some space on the right-hand side. Spooner cutting it off. Josh Wash up there for the second touch, and will find the shot and the back of the net, so don't quite look urgent enough. Yeah, I mean, if you're on the Sears side, you're probably feeling pretty good about yourself, except for that goal there from Lafar. One to bring them back into this game 3. Chesterfield need another one to put it beyond doubt, but Josh Wash is there, and Sunderland equalise. It makes you go, I have a feeling it's going to be Blazeburner just from how he's been playing the series, but it looks like the Chesterfield outfit is looking a lot more comfortable in this high-pressure situation. It's in front of the orange net. no communication from these teams at the moment, and it is a little bit scrappy. Perhaps that's why it is still 0-0, but Pikachu is there to take the words out of my mouth and put his side in the lead. 45 left on the clock, and a 2-goal lead is exactly what Cobra's wanted after their result in game 1.
And it looks like the Bohan's just going to score. Yes, they are. That was a very nice shot. You saw them all 3 behind N.
Keeping that pressure on. Fridge Freezer with the touch over to the left, misses his boost canister, only has 30 to make this work, and inadvertently hands possession back to X there, who then gets a demolition on Branners, leaving them very exposed at the back, and perfect capitalization. X there, barely passing possession back to the team in blue. As Mr. Callum goes up looking for a double touch, Pikachu able to get that one clear, but not very far, and Mr. Callum driving away from it, able to goal here as Orange try to clear their lines. X there with a snapshot from the sidewall, can't find the target, but Mr. Callum can. Pikachu turning around in the corner and waiting for something to happen, but the shot almost finding the back of the net. Pikachu saved, only out as far as X there, who absolutely buries it for a 1-0 lead. Runners into the corner. LWO3 coming to take over. A little bit loose here. Possession given away a little bit too freely as LWO3 whiffs that ball in midfield. Branner's not able to complete what he was going for. And then a counter attack for Bridgend as that one comes loose in front of net, and Mr. Callum has absolutely no trouble cleaning that one.
Pikachu does unfortunately miss. It's going to be 3-0 with 2 minutes left. It's looking like Bohan have just lost their composure. They had a strong start, but they somehow lost it.
Well, WO3 off to a quick start here as Mr. Callum plays that one upfield. Defensive double commit once again from Bohan is going to leave them vulnerable, leave the goal exposed, and leave it wide open for X.
That and go score again, so they do really have to be careful and make sure that when they do overcommit, they're scoring.
Pikachu getting that pressure on. They know they need something quickly, and what an absolutely lovely bit of individual. Bridge and Cobras have managed to take this series 3-1, and they'll be very, very pleased about this victory.
All right, some fantastic highlights there from the Rocket League season. Of course, we will be talking about that next, and afterwards we will be going into the League of Legends discussion as well. We try and cover as much of the games that we've played this season. Of course, you know that we're trying our best to stream as much as we can. We're doing significantly more than last season, which was 0. Anyway, thanks again, Alice. Welcome back. And also, we have with us Twisted, who is our Rocket League admin. Squark is in the chat, who is our second Rocket League admin, but unfortunately is not feeling too well, so is just going to stick in the chat for today. But of course, they are both here, so welcome in.
Hello, thanks for having me.
No problem, you're welcome. So, of course, let's have a look at the leaderboard, shall we?
Yeah, so the leaderboard has been pretty tight this season. The overall leaderboard, we've actually got 6 teams on a perfect 9-0 score, which is very impressive. Cross Key Kings, Luxonate Esports, the Ferrers, West Sussex Wolves, Wyke 3, and AGSB, and the Condors. Yeah, really impressive plays from those teams. The mechanical skill that we've seen and the team plays coming out have been incredible to watch.
Awesome. What I'm seeing though is that AGSB and Condors are 9 for
Condors are 9-0. They just haven't updated on the overall because we had a ticket we need to sort out with them. So that's why it's waiting to be updated. But the group standings are all correct.
Right. So, and then AGSB are lost their last game.
Yeah.
So the 6th one is Condors. Yeah, gotcha. Oh, so yeah, any confusions on the site, don't worry, we are still working very hard on it, so please be patient. I know that obviously it's important that it's all updated and it looks great for you, so you can shout about it to your friends and family. We are doing our best. So yeah, really, really strong. Actually, I would say this is a tougher competition than in the Overwatch, only given the fact that we've got so many strong teams. Of course, we've got some very familiar names up there, lots of people who are the same teams as last year, which is great. Obviously, the Overwatch was a bit dominated by Sears, but since they've all moved on and gone to university, it's opened up a bit more freedom in the top of the table, which is great. So, but in Rocket League, I feel it's a little bit different. I think most of the teams that were here last year are still here this year and are still fighting for redemption. Of course, Sunderland Sears being the grand champions last year. However, they did lose out to Luxonate Esports, or at the time it was Don't Panic, in the Rocket League Showdown. So there is that to consider as well, Luxonate having beaten last year's winners. Anyway, Alice, how is it feeling on this table?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of teams. That's the first thing I just want to say. Like, Rocket League is by far our most popular tournament this winter qualifiers. I think that's had a big deal from Rocket League going free back in the summer.
Yep.
Makes it a lot easier for schools and colleges to get involved. And also with COVID restrictions, the fact it's cross-platform is a super big help for everybody trying to still take part if they're playing from home or in college. But yeah, in terms of teams, there's a mix of new and old, I think, which is great to see again. We've got new teams like Alpha Alliance, even got St. Vincent Sharks, who have taken part in our AP champs before, but now they're our main champs as well. Special shout out to Exeter College as well. I know they struggled a little bit at the start, but they've really caught up and they've only lost, I think it is 2 games. That's really great to see. And then obviously we've always got our favourites, Krusky Kings, Luxonate, Ferrers, right at the top like they always are, which is great to see them continue to be as strong as ever. It's really great. I think it's really close, like Twisted was saying. It's a really great close tournament. Rocket League, everyone's really competitive, which is nice to see.
Yeah, and St. Vincent Sharks are in the chat, and I'm very proud that they've done so well this year. So big shout out to them as well, and just generally great support from them. To be honest, coming from the AP champs and kind of entering into this mainstream tournament, as it were, with significantly larger schools, with larger pools of talent to choose from, and still performing so well is just an absolute brilliant showcase. So, yeah, not going to lie, they are one of my favourite teams in terms of their passion and energy and just general good sense of sportsmanship. So yeah, well done, and thank you everybody for who's participating, but particularly shout out to them. Right, so top of the table then. As you said, Twisted, we've got a lot of teams that are all kind of on the same amount of points. It's a different game mode to lose or to not lose, don't you think?
It's a different game mode to not lose.
Yeah, to go unbeaten.
Yeah, to go unbeaten takes a huge amount of skill. The skill that we've seen from some of these players and these teams, considering that they're not professional teams, is absolutely incredible. We've seen so many air dribbles, 50-50s, backboard passes, some really impressive plays come out from these teams. So to go 9-0 it just pays credit to that, really. And it will be definitely interesting to see after this season, when we come back after Christmas, how some of these top teams face up against each other.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at teams that have literally only lost 1 game, look how competitive that top row is. 25 and 27 points. You've got at least 10 teams. If we're putting through top 16 or top 24 or whatever it is, out of how many is in here? 55. Yeah. By the way, guys, the soft cap for the league is 56, I believe. Is that right, Alice?
So for qualifiers, it's a lot more now. We can have a lot more, but for divisions, 56.
56, yeah. So we actually were 1 team shy of being capped on Rocket League there for this season. Fantastic. I'm so glad the participation's so high. But like Sunderland Sears, again, their team has changed this year. So having won last year, they have obviously struggled a little bit this year, having lost 2 matches. I'm not sure who to. But yeah, lots of these teams, very, very high win rates at the top here. This is actually quite surprising, because Rocket League's a bit of a different game in that obviously you're much less players on your team, and therefore it's much easier to carry if you have one stronger player. I find in Overwatch and League of Legends you can have a really amazing player, but then it becomes more difficult to carry because of the fact that you're up against 5 or up against 6. Anyway, I think that's somewhat a slight advantage for Rocket League, and that's possibly why we're seeing so many teams on such a high win rate. Shall we take a look at the groups, guys? Or do you want to have a look at the bottom of the table? Yeah, let's have a look at the bottom of the table, actually. Or the bottom half of the table, I should say.
I think from some of the groups and the games that I've seen as well, I think it's quite surprising to see the difference in skill. Like sometimes there's been absolutely dominated matches where it's been like 10 goals scored in one map, and then it just carries on throughout the series. And then there's others that I've seen are really, really close. In terms of like going to overtime, or it's 3-2 as a final score. And those are the sort of games that we love to see. So I think it's been a nice little mix and match of skill sets this year.
Yeah, for sure. Any thoughts on that, Twisted?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of closer games. I know one of the highlighted games, BSA Griffins versus Queen Mary Samurai. Super close game.
Yeah, it was.
BSA Griffins kind of ended up in the middle of the table, 5-4 overall, 19 points. But yeah, some of these games we've been seeing sets go 2 goals to 3, 4 goals to 5, 1 goal to 2. It makes the game much more interesting to watch. Puts an unfortunate amount of pressure maybe on the players as they're playing through these games, but it makes it great to spectate.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the QM Samurai and BS8, by no means either of the both of those teams are very, very talented.
Oh,
You know,
for
the
sure.
fact that BSA have ended up tied 24th, right, it actually speaks volumes about the amount of talent in this top half of the table. Seriously is a very, very high skill cap amongst our teams, and that's fantastic. Okay, so let's have a look at the groups then. Obviously, we've got the clear winners of the brackets, because there can only be there can only be so many teams with 9-0 streaks, and I think every group has one.
I'll double check. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so every
yes.
group has an unbeaten team in it, which is actually quite interesting, because the fact that they won't have been playing each other this season. If you're playing against, for instance, let's say I'm Condors and I'm playing, and I'm not saying anything about these teams, but let's say that they just didn't feel very good. So all year so far I've been scrimming against these guys, and then suddenly next season I go into Division 1, and it's much more competitive. And oh my god, I'm thrown completely. I don't remember how to play at this level anymore. So do we think that these teams who have been steamrolling to 9-0 are going to struggle next season?
I mean, we got a brief taste of it with AGSB's most recent game. They were on an 8-win streak, and they just lost out on their last game of the season against Condors, who finished 9-0. That was an amazing match. Those sets were 2-3 goals, 1-2 goals, 5-4 goals. Super, super tight, high-level games. I mean, I'm really excited to see more of that high-level gameplay. I can't say if any of the teams are going to struggle. Watching them kind of dominate as they have already, it will be for sure some tight games. So it'll be interesting to watch how it plays out.
Yeah, for sure. This AGSB actually, and I want to shout out to all the Rocket League. I feel like the Rocket League teams have been doing a lot more streaming, which is fantastic, than the other disciplines. And so, yeah, big shout out to anybody who's partaking in a Rocket League stream of their own. I know we're trying to do as much as Dom's in the chat calling me biased. I'm not. I'm genuinely saying this is what I witness. I think there are a few more League as well. So in my opinion, it goes Rocket League, then Overwatch, on terms of how many of you guys are streaming your own matches. But regardless, it is great to see. So please do start streaming if you're not. We'd love to watch as much content as we can. But yeah, these matches, particularly like this group here, was insanely strong. Everybody in here is really talented. What a tough competition it is. And then you're looking at the rest of the groups where you've got Sunderland Sears, who, winners last year, are suddenly appearing third this season. I mean, I know their team has changed a little bit. So if we're looking from a particular group stage, like if you're looking at these brackets with us, who do you think is going to be predicted to take the win? Obviously, it's going to be really, really difficult to call since you've got 6 teams at 9-0. But if you had to,
for me, if I had to call a team out now, it would be Ferrers. They were featured in the Plays of the Week 2. They had an 8-1 victory in one of those games. I mean, hugely mechanically skilled players. We've seen some incredible passing play, some really aggressive gameplay from them. Just really high-level Rocket League. Hazza got the MVP for that match, but also the other two in the team, Ruben and Odell, amazing players. So for me, yeah, I think the Ferrers Esports have a solid chance at taking the win.
I see. Well, I've got all 3 of the team members from Luxinate in the chat complaining about that decision. Alice, if you had to choose.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Rocket League is definitely not my forte. I love the game, love watching it. I couldn't predict anything, unfortunately, but yeah, I always like to root for some of the new teams. So maybe West Suffolk Wolves could really bring it back. They're on 9-0 as well.
Yeah.
They could be a strong contender, but yeah, again, Luxinate Ferrers have been really strong, all the time in the champs. So I wouldn't rule anything out.
St Vincent Sharks saying Ferrers are superb, a lot of strong players and a big dangerous team going into the spring divisions. Couldn't agree more. Obviously you've got Cross Key Kings though as well, which nobody's spoken about. Really, really strong team there. And of course the Wyke RL3, which actually I can't remember their team name. It's not actually RL3. They have a name, but it's lost on me. But yeah, and of course Condors. So yeah, we've got a potentially huge season coming up with all these big names going forwards. I don't know how many. I don't think we can't release anything about what we're doing, but you can safely say that the top these guys are going through. So if you're in this bracket so far, we can pretty much safely say that that's going ahead into Division 1 of spring season. Cool. So I didn't predict. Okay. And neither did Squawk, to be fair. I'm just going to call that out there if I didn't. I think it's going to be between. I think it's going to be between Cross Keys and Luxinate, but I think Luxinate will take the cake, personally. And of course, Squawk in the chat is shouting Alva. Alva Alliance, of course. Yeah. Actually, yeah, they've been looking really strong throughout the whole season as well, which is fantastic. Alice, have you watched any of the Alva games? They've started streaming recently.
I've watched a couple, yeah, when they put them in the chat. It's just, yeah, it's great. I didn't know much about them, and they came in. They've obviously shown that they know what they're doing, and they're a great team to kind of contend with. They've only lost 1 game, so judging by that, I'd be probably quite scared of them going into spring division as well.
Yeah. Gower College are getting involved now. Out saying it's going to be between them and Cross Keys. Yes, it's quite a good chat. I like this. It's meaty. All right, but I'll let you guys debate a little bit longer. It's 5 o'clock already, and I haven't got to League of Legends yet, so I will be just showing you guys a little bit more from the League of Legends, and then we'll discuss that leaderboard, and then we'll call it a day. So enjoy the next clip.
Welcome everyone to the British Esports Association's Championship.
To burn an early summon spell maybe to try and regank this lane. But I think this is, we set this up in draft. Milky was saying it as well, that this is a really neutral bot lane and they will be playing towards that top side. While that gank was going on, it was Steel Brothers able to get there into the jungle, steal away the Raptors. And see nearly a solo kill in the top lane.
Awesome!
He goes too deep and it's the first blood for Sion there. Play. I mean, they are 2,000 gold behind at the moment. I'm not actually sure if he saw his base or not. But if he did see a base, maybe he could have taken a Mountain Dragon there. As we see more trading here in the top lane. I was expecting this to be a neutral lane, but he's going for the kill into the tower.
Wow, Yubi just doesn't know the meaning of fear and takes their 3rd kill of the game.
They're going to make a play here onto Fiora, maybe even a dive. She uses the parry already.
There we go, through the wall, and the flash is immediately stolen away. Locked in place is Otter. All the crowd control in the world. Steel Brothers coming in for the assist. It looks like a ton of damage themselves. As Oof on the turn takes the charge shots. It's going to be in trade. I think it's ultimately going to end up being even.
They'll be able to pick up the Rift Herald. There's 3 people here from stage already.
Nicholas is on the back, so keep your eye out for whether or not time gets deleted. Steel Brothers falls down and supporting Otter dives into the midst of the Sage squad. They're going to have to fall back. Humble Trespass to do a chunk of damage, and the pull-off is there. The double kill goes through, and a beautiful knock-up onto Nicholas, just short of the shield coming in. Twisted up in the air, buys themselves a few more moments of life with the stasis for triple kill for Oof. They've been
now they've taken the first Rift Herald. It'll be interesting to see what they use this Rift Herald for. Obviously, I think the best play, if it's available to them, would be to break up this mid tower and open the map up even more for them. think the biggest thing in that last play though is the play was so soon after the fight in the as Nicholas.
Hold the phone for a second. Nicholas goes in, gets another shutdown. This isn't a Kali who keeps.
You're not going to get another charge off. It's definitely dead. But I love this from UBU. He's as can't wait to go out here in the mid lane. He's got him both with him.
Steel Brothers just can't deal with all this damage as the press pass comes in once more. So hard to escape from. A knockup comes through. But this is a step too far for Oof, and Gamer Lord comes through and picks the kill. Tam now trying to escape and gets shut down again. That brings the gold much more. Steel Brothers leading the charge up, and Darren and the rest of the squad falling back. The arrow going to be used defensively as Oof is caught in the middle of the team. And the Knights manage to grab that kill. Flash forward for Ascendant. Gets the root in as Darren tries to body block but can't do it. Double kill onto Gamer Lord. That's a triple kill. I take it back, and this means the second Drake falls into the Knights' hands as the gold lead is practically that extra 1v1 power. But look, it's happening again. An isolated member of the Sage squad gets found out by the Knights and deleted, but the Sage team, they're not even trying to make the save here, they're going straight for the Drake.
Yeah, he's able to delay with the Zhonya's pick up there, and I think it will be Sage picking up the
Nichan gets taken to pieces as Gamer Lord comes charging in. The triple kill for the Zaya, up to...
I really think UBUB is just going to go down here. Nicholas is doing so much damage. He has 3 items now, 7, 1 and 5. And remember, he still has the TP. If they're going to make a play here, he can be here for a fight.
Kiyomi goes down as well, so it's, with a further falling, it's down to Oof and Tam to try and save the game for Sage XD, but the gold lead is massive. The Baron buff is still live. The Knights are knocking on the door of the Sage base, and there's no answer from the Sage squad. They just have to watch their inhibitor fall. Over 20 seconds until any of those 3 members come down. TP comes in. The Knights, they got Nexus Tower number 1. They're looking for the second. Respawns are so far away. Sage XD go for the final fight. Nicholas is legendary. They lived up to the hype. And the first game on the night goes to the Knights.
Really, really fantastic game.
Can you remember back to which particular player stood out to you the most?
I think personally, I think I'll go for the.
All right, gonna have to cut that one short there, just because of timing reasons. But welcome back, everybody. Alice, thank you for joining me again. Now, of course, we are here to talk about League, so it's only fitting that we have our League tournament admin as well. Seproc, welcome to the stream. Hello, Seproc, are you here?
Hello.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Sorry, thanks for sticking around. Welcome into the stream, my friend. So, of course, you've been running the behind-the-scenes action for the whole season. How have you found it?
So it's been quite a transition. So previously, as you guys might know or already not, I used to run the Farnborough sixth form teams.
Yes.
And so now I've transitioned to helping out at British Esports for the League of Legends. So it's kind of weird to see how things move around the side, especially with COVID. It's been a bit of a switch from the last few seasons we've been used to, but it's amazing how these teams have just managed to accommodate and change very quickly from a standard where you play in school to playing at home.
Yeah, there's a lot of Seproc fans in the chat by the looks of things so far. Big shout out to you. Yeah, we remember you from Farnborough, and of course we are very glad to have you on our team. So Alice, let's have a look at the leaderboards, shall we?
Yeah.
Why don't you kick us off?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think there's obviously clear 2 standout winners right there. With Cornell, Cyphers, and Exeter College as well. Yeah, didn't lose a game. So I think it's as simple as that. They're obviously the clear winners here for winter qualifiers. Easy route into spring. But there's still some really great contenders. We've got Farnborough College Technology. They've stopped there, only losing 1. East Norfolk, AGSB has always been really strong in League of Legends. I think we streamed 2 of their games, Team 1 and Team 2, a couple of weeks ago, and they won both. So they're clearly quite strong in League and someone to be not necessarily feared, but one to be up against. Same for Northampton Dodos. They've been, I think this is their only team in the league, but they've always entered each League of Legends and they do very well. So strong contenders, I think, in League of Legends this year.
Now, of course, we do have to talk about Hills Road being our last year's winners, and of course, not performing as well as we had expected this season so far. However, they've still probably done enough to buy them a place into Division 1, winning 6 out of their 8 games. But of course, yeah, both of their teams actually managed to do that, which is fantastic to see.
I think they've got their third a little bit further down. Maybe they've got their best players in the first two.
Should we find them? Yeah. So Hills Road SFC 3 down here in joint 28th position. But yes, they being able to do that with both teams is pretty impressive. Fingers crossed, we don't end up with a Hills Road versus Hills Road final, which would be a little bit awkward. But any teams there standing out for you, Seproc? I mean, personally, I've been keeping my eye on Heckman White Hot Shots, which is, of course, if you don't know, everybody is Spyron's team. So yeah, obviously I've been watching them a little bit. But anyone standing out for you, Seproc?
I think all the teams between 1 to 8 can almost be a toss-up. Given this was best of 1 this entire season,
yeah,
it can change incredibly when you go to a best of 3 situation, and teams can lose a game of just one off chance of one team fight. So if you're within the top 1 to 8, all the games I've seen have been really close. But Cornell has really stood out with their teamwork and their drafting. So I would think Cornell and Exeter are both in incredibly strong positions this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some games are lost in pick, aren't they? In draft phase, but it does happen. Of course, I do 100% agree with you. If you give away that early first blood by just one simple mistake, that could end up snowballing somebody and cost you the game. So not making those mistakes, from Cornell and Exeter, really, really impressive to actually sustain their lead throughout this whole season. Let's have a little look, scroll down towards like the mid-table. Obviously, we've got less teams in League of Legends this year than we normally do, only 35 competing teams, which does mean that the bracket will be split slightly different from the other two. But of course, there are some familiar names in here. The Kajaffas as well, we saw them. Sage as well. Woodhouse featured on stream. BTC. So I've watched all of these teams do really well. And I'm actually pretty impressed. It's quite obvious, who's able to win in the draft phase. I feel it's quite a strong pick, especially this season with the changes as well to the whole items and the mythics. I mean, what are we thinking about that, Alice? About the whole mid-season changes, because obviously the league put out such a huge update. That really probably cost teams quite a lot of points this season.
So League isn't my, again, forte. It's more Overwatch and Dota 2. However, I completely understand like a big patch and how that affects any sort of gameplay. Like, the teams have to learn new items, how that fits in with the draft, just how it makes the game flow. And that's something that's completely new. And then especially happening halfway through the qualifiers it's just a difficult situation for everybody. But I think, the teams have all done really well. You can see some of them, for example, Unreadable, they've won 4, lost 4, so they're firmly kind of in the middle ground. And again, some that's lost a couple, some that's only won a few. Well, the great thing about like MOBA games in general is like you can either lose in the draft phase, or you can have those amazing comebacks, or one game, like one play that snowballs. And I think, it's us captivating on that and making sure that you highlight any of those good plays, and then move to the next objective, and then you win. It's just different. New patches change everything all the time. We've had a couple of champion bans as well recently, and even some item bans with champions.
Yeah.
So it's a new thing for us to kind of introduce and like admining as well. But all the teams took that on board really clearly, and they understood to ask an admin if they weren't sure. So I think it's all just that communication and learning of it as we have.
But I mean, Seproc, would you agree that like some of these changes, particularly the items and the mythics, really could have affected teams in a significant way? Like if I'm just looking at Unreadable there, for instance, losing their first 4 games, and then patch comes in, bam, they win the rest of their games. Is that because their champion picks naturally fell well into the patch, or because the items that they were picking were new to everybody, so they stood on an even ground again? Or how do you feel that affects teams, particularly who are getting win streaks towards the latter half of the season?
Yeah, so I think the patch they released this year was the largest in a couple of years, and it completely turned the game upside down within the course of a day.
Yeah.
The champions which were top tier meta the day before, overnight then became bottom tier. Rice, for example, dropped 10% in win rate, which is incredible. I play for the NUEL, and when the patch day dropped, the team standings all just switched that day. Teams which were winning started losing, and so on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say the patch did change a lot of teams around, but the debris has now settled, and I think the mythics changes people have adapted to them quite well. So Hills Road in particular, after the patch, they maintained their win spree
Yes. Yeah.
and kept winning. Yeah.
Yeah,
So some teams
they did really well there.
adapted.
Yeah, I think the adaptation, like as well, Kono and Exeter as well, going from knowing the game so in depth because it hadn't changed in such a long time, having that win streak and feeling really confident about it, and then suddenly you're thrown into this world of unknown, but being able to adapt and keep your win streak going is somewhat really impressive. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the groups then. Of course, we do have the two groups which have the 8 and O's, which is of course Group 2 and Group 3. But then the rest of these tables do look really, really close. If we ignore those two groups for the moment and just look at the others, we've got lots of teams who are on similar points, high points at the top. The top 5 out of 9, they're sort of in 16 points and above, and the top 6, again in this Group 4. Whereas if you go to these, Group 2 and Group 3, that drops off a bit earlier. Only 5 places holding 16 points above, and same again. So, how do we feel that that's going to play coming into spring season?
I think it's going to be quite close.
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested to see, yes, it is a smaller tournament with numbers of teams involved, but I think the skill level in there is definitely available, and I'm kind of interested, in general. I don't think I could pick a clear winner, maybe Cornell and again with Exeter, just because of their streaks so far. But I think it's all up in the air, to be honest with you. I mean, looking at Group 4, it's actually quite close. And for example, Dodos, their loss was actually to Heckmondwijk.
Okay. Yeah.
So they were knocked off their win streak by, Heckmondwijk, who's now equal to them in points. And again, Sandpipers have gone for Heckmondwijk lost to Sandpipers, which is Farnborough, I believe. So it's all quite close. I think there's a chance for anybody to kind of, take the slot and knock Cornell off their win streak. So it's up in the
air. And of course, Exeter as well. Any particular predictions from you, Setproc? I think you've probably invested a few more. I'm not going to say tens of hours into analysing the leaderboards than I have. So, any predictions from you?
I think predictions wise, AGSB, Cornell, and Exeter and Heckmond are probably going to be top 4, but the middle of the bracket can lead to quite a few upsets.
Okay.
So Hills Road and Farnborough has 3 teams who are all tied for the same score of 5-3. So it could be interesting to see if there is any changes in rosters to bring together a team that combines the best players from each team. If that were to happen, I would think Farnborough could quite easily contend for the top 4 spot. And I haven't seen much of NC Dodos, but they, from the match we just saw, they can, even if they fall behind, they can come back quite hard. So you can't really count them out until the very end of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a smooth game we just watched there, Sage and NC Dodos. So am I right in thinking the Farnborough teams are Ospreys, Lapwings, and then Sandpipers? Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. All bird names. I like it. So yeah, I mean that's going to make a lot of difference though in next season when everybody's on the same patch for the whole season. Well, presumably. I'm not going to say that Riot aren't going to just make another load of mad changes, but as you said, like the debris is now settled, so we should be going into something a little more standardized. And I think that the meta is I mean, it's still not clear exactly what it is yet, but it is definitely finding its feet, as it were. I think when we're looking towards next season, I think the teams that we need to be looking out for are the teams who have been performing well since the patch dropped. I don't think anything we can, anything before that can be considered as a potential threat, because it is so much. The game is so different since it was, 4 or 5 weeks ago, whenever it was it dropped. Brilliant. Okay. So any other like major upsets that you've witnessed this season, or anything going on behind the scenes, Seprock, that you want to mention?
The rivalries, I got quite a few messages from some schools about certain rivalries which have cropped up already.
Brilliant.
You've got a traditional FCOT Farnborough 6 rivalry, but you've also got Wycliffe and HSB, so it's interesting how these teams kept butting heads. And I feel like going into the upper divisions and into playoffs, there will be quite a bit of backstory to build up on from this, which is quite amusing to see.
Fantastic. I hope these are all friendly messages you're receiving about rivalries.
Yep, all of them are quite
good.
sportsmanlike.
Good. Squark is in the chat saying the lack of Yumi needs addressing. So if you guys are a player and you're watching this, and if you're support, we've been crying out for a Yumi player all year and not seen one. So perhaps think about that for next season. But yeah, so I think that's more or less draws us to a close, unless there's anything else you wanted to point out or talk about. Alice, I want to get your predictions, I think, for a winner.
Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to go for actually one of the 22-point teams, because I think they're going to cause an upset for Cornell Exeter. So I'm going with either Heckmond Wyke or Farnborough College of Technology.
F-Cot.
I think they might do it. Yeah.
Okay. So funny you should say that, because I was going to vote Heckman Wyke, actually. So I'm going to stick with it. I'll vote Heckman. And then I guess it's the most experienced one of us about the table, Seprock. Who is your predicted winner for next season?
I'm jumping on the Exeter College hype train.
Ooh, okay. Running with the favourite. Okay, I like it. No word for Cornell then.
I feel like Exeter's play style is a counter to Cornell's. So if they meet in the finals, it might end up being very Exeter-sided. But if an upset happens before then I can see Cornell winning it all.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it will be interesting to see them, face off against each other. I cannot wait for next season, as neither can Alice, and I hope you guys are all excited as well. Christmas is too long. Why can't we have more games next week? Keep it going. Anyway, but that was our analysis of the tables and the review of this season. Thank you, Seprock, and all of our tournament admins who have been here throughout the season with us. So I'll just bring it back to us, Alice. So yeah, thank you again, Seprock, and have a nice Christmas, and we'll speak to you later.
Thank you.
So, Alice, it's you and me. It's been a pretty crazy season so far, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I assume you have as well. I know we've been working really hard, been very, very busy, and of course the new site has made life a lot easier, but also difficult because it's new. So there's been, lots of changes that we are making. A couple of things I just want to say then before we sign off is just, please bear with us because we are working very hard, and of course things take time. Have a very, very safe and happy Christmas. Don't be mixing where you shouldn't be, and eat lots of food and enjoy yourselves. Basically, play a few games if you have time, and we'll see you all in the new year for the spring season. Got any final words, Alice?
Just thank you to all the participants, teachers, team leaders, anyone who's helped get involved, streamers, volunteers, etc. It's just fantastic to have you all kind of continue in this difficult time. But yeah, it's great, and we love to see the games. So look forward to spring.
Yep, perfect. Don't forget to submit more content if you're streaming or if you're recording or anything. Please do submit it, because we love to see it and we want to shout about it to the world. So anyway, happy Christmas, happy New Year, and we'll see you all in spring. Bye-bye.
Bye.